Okay, so picture this. I'm all excited to finally start watercolor painting insects, and guess what happens first?
So we'll take some brown.
Not paint on the paper. Nope. Mosquito bites. All over my body. Like, seriously, the bugs are stealing the spotlight before I even touch my brush. I've always loved watercolor, though, let's be real, very casually, very messy, nothing professional. And I've always been obsessed with insects. I love watching them, reading about them, and this time, for the very first time, actually drawing them. So when I found this watercolor course about insects and plants, I was like, this is literally made for me. I can finally combine both my loves. Well, except for the mosquito part, of course. So I grab a cheap watercolor set from the little Chinese shop in our village, a watercolor paper pad, and I set up in the garden thinking I'm about to have this dreamy, artsy moment. I cleaned the table, laid out my brushes, even wore a long sleeve shirt like, beat that, mosquitoes. And they did. They went for every single spot that wasn't covered. And because I'm allergic, my skin went red and puffy instantly. I even have photos from 2 years ago when it got so bad I had to run to the clinic for an injection. Yeah. Anyway, I start painting, and 5 minutes in, disaster. My paper? Garbage.
First, we'll use a very light color.
Total garbage. The teacher in the course literally said watercolor paper has to be 100% cotton. Otherwise, it pills and falls apart. And guess what I was using? Yep, the exact opposite. The more I painted, the worse it got. My colors turned muddy, my paper looked like it had acne. Just tragic.
One ends here and the other end.
Painting wasn't even the only first of that day. It was also my sister-in-law's birthday. So with my mother-in-law's help, I made tiramisu for the very first time. And finally, I gave up on the garden and ran inside. Set up my desk again, and this time I was like, okay, focus. So I drew 2 insects, but honestly, my colors and layering turned out so bad. Like, embarrassingly bad. At first, I blamed the paper because, yeah, it was definitely trash. But let's be real, maybe the paper wasn't the only problem. My watercolor skills might need a little upgrade too. The blending, the washes, the layering, everything just felt off. So, yeah, not exactly a masterpiece. That day turned into a double adventure. First real watercolor attempt and first tiramisu. Both chaotic, both messy, both totally worth it. Now, was I thrilled with the final painting? Honestly, no. My paper was a total flop, but I had so much fun. Painting insects is super fascinating, and I'm definitely doing it again. With the right paper next time. So, stay tuned for part 2. And don't forget to subscribe so the mosquitoes don't eat me alive in the meantime.
un anno e ritorna quando risata te. Oh, so conosciuta te, saremmo lì con lì.